Welcome back to Daddy Dimes Radio. Today we have two guests with us rejoining. Aubrey's going to be with us for her third time, and then our dad's going to be joining us later here in the show to go over today's AFC and NFC championship games. But let's go ahead and get right into part two of the NBA edition jerseys that we did with Aubrey last time. This is part two. We're going to get a couple jerseys in here, and then we'll move on. So let me go ahead and share the screen here. All right, that's on. And we're on the jerseys here. And then we'll pick up right where we left off. We did the Lakers last. Right now, I think our leaders, Aubrey gave a rating of 8. I think it was this Cavs one and the Hawks one that we started with, Aubrey. All right. And then give us your thoughts on this Grizzlies jersey here.
All right, jumping right into it. So this Memphis jersey here, I do like the colors. I think the black goes very good with that little pop of color, and I do love the text. So overall, I'm going to have to give this Memphis one a 8.
All right, so another one tied for the lead here. And then Miami always has good jerseys. This one's just like last year, just in a white color. What are your thoughts on this Heat jersey?
I actually really like this one. I actually am going to have to give this an 8.5.
And the Heat take the lead. Personally, I don't think it's as good as their jersey that they had a couple years ago where it was like half that light baby blue, half pink. That jersey was really cool.
My thoughts on this one is I just love how all of the font is different colors. That's something that makes them really unique. And I just love their color choice. So I think overall they put together a really great jersey. So that's why I give it an 8.5.
Then we got Levi's favorite team, and it's the Milwaukee Bucks. What do you think of this different Bucks as they normally don't wear this blue?
Yes. Again, like I said in the last episode a couple of times, this definitely is one of those where some people really love it and some people really don't. So it kind of just depends. And on my view of it, I'm right in the middle. So I'm going to have to give this one probably like a 7 because I do like the color choices, but I feel like there's nothing too unique about it. You know, it's just blue, regular font, number, pretty a basic jersey.
And then we have the Timberwolves right to the right of it here.
My thoughts on this one, again, I do like the color choices. Just, I don't know if I'm loving it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the font being underneath those colors there and being so little where it says Minnesota is kind of weird.
Yeah, but I mean, I do appreciate they're trying to put themselves out there, definitely make it unique. Again, one of those some people like, some people dislike. So my overall rating for this one is going to have to be a 7.
Okay. And then we got this Pelicans one.
Again, very interesting. The colors, I think, is very unique. But if I could redesign this jersey, I like the stripes, but I would maybe put the number like a little below the yellow.
Yeah.
Because it might be hard to read from like far away if you're in the stands and you wouldn't know what number or player that is unless you really know like their faces, you know? So I think that would be hard, or for someone that like can't really see very well. But I do like it. So for this one, I'm going to have to give it a 7 as well.
All right, and then moving right on, we got the New York Knicks with kind of their same colors, just a little bit of a different look.
do like the sides of this one. So this one I'm gonna have to give another 7, just because the sides are really like unique, and I really love the sides. They're so cool. But in the middle, the part that mainly people are looking at, it's just nothing special, So that's why I give this one a 7. Really cool, some parts very bland, like most jerseys expected when I've seen.
All right, and then we got the Thunder, my favorite team. But honestly, in my opinion, this jersey is one of our worst jerseys we've had since we switched from the Supersonics to the Thunder. What are your thoughts on it?
Again, this is one of those jerseys some people like, some people don't like. I'm going to give this one a 6.5, just because it's one of the lower ones. But I do appreciate that font and the stripes. But again, it kind of just looks kind of bland, And also, that light blue color is very hard to read from the stands. And, yeah, that's just something. That's why I think it only deserves a 6.5.
All right, we'll do 2 more here. Now we got this Magic one, which is pretty basic and similar to their other jerseys. What are your thoughts on it?
Honestly, a 6.
Yeah, it doesn't look terrible, but it's just not as cool and colorful as this other city jerseys.
Honestly, I get that this is a city jersey, but if we are basing this off of like looks compared to regular jerseys, this would definitely not be a city jersey. It's literally just like a regular jersey. Nothing special about it. It's all black and white. So this one just is a 6. Starting to go downhill a little.
But I think, personally, in my opinion, this one brings it back up. We got the 76ers with the cool inscription of City of Brotherly Love, which is something we've never seen from them before, like the motto of their own city.
I'm going to have to give this one 7, honestly, because I do think that's something very unique. Like, a lot of people don't really do that, but just the color choices are kind of bland,
Yeah.
Just kind of red and white. So I give this one a 7.
All right, and that's going to do it. We'll keep going through these every couple weeks or so. So, Aubrey, you can go ahead and head out.
Make sure to stay and watch part 3.
And we're going to go ahead and do a little bit more with the NBA. Go over the NBA All-Star starters. Talking about some snubs and surprises. Not anything crazy. In the Eastern Conference, Donovan Mitchell gets his 4th appearance, first in the Eastern Conference, which he obviously deserves. Kyrie gets his 8th, and I personally voted for Jaylen Brown, which we saw last episode. And so I think Jaylen Brown kind of got snubbed, but then his teammate Jason Tatum makes his 4th appearance. Giannis is the team captain, making his 7th appearance, which is actually more than I thought, because he really only burst onto the scene being super dominant in like 2018. And then, of course, Kevin Durant gets his 13th All-Star appearance. So really on the Eastern Conference, only thing you can really complain about is kind of how they still limit it to backcourt and frontcourt, because honestly, Joel Embiid technically really should have been in here. But then also I think Jaylen Brown should have made it over Kyrie. Then in the Western Conference, Luka Doncic, who was my MVP pick before the season started and is definitely the leader right now, in my opinion, gets his 4th selection. And then Steph Curry, the other guard, gets his 9th selection. Personally, I voted for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which there might be some bias there. But Steph missed a decent amount of time, and Shai's been playing almost as good as him when Steph has been on the court. Zion gets his 2nd All-Star appearance, which was interesting because he, again, has also missed a lot of time. So people, again, kind of think that there shouldn't be a limit on the backcourt / front court, because then Shai could have made it in here over Zion. And then Jokic gets his 5th All-Star appearance, having another great season and leading to the Nuggets to the best seed in the Western Conference currently, And then LeBron gets his 19th All-Star appearance, and he's the captain for that side. So LeBron and Giannis will be picking their squad from the reserves live at the All-Star game, which is in Utah this year. So that's just something to note. And now we're just going to go over quickly a little bit more basketball, but on the college side with the SEC Big 12 Challenge going on yesterday. And of course, our K-State Wildcats lost by 4 to Iowa State on the road earlier this week for our second Big 12 loss and fourth of the season. But as after we became the 5th ranked team in the nation, our best since, I think, 2008. And then we easily beat Florida by 14 in the SEC Big 12 Challenge on Saturday. And then after what was the 1 seed Houston lost to Temple 2 weeks ago, another big top 5 upset happens in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Yesterday, 2-seeded Alabama got absolutely destroyed by Oklahoma by 20. Oklahoma being one of the weakest teams in the Big 12 this year, and Bama supposedly the second best team in the nation according to the rankings. Tennessee got a big win over Texas in the only game between two top 10 teams, with Tennessee at 4 and Texas right on the border at 10. And Tennessee got the win. And then KU fended off Kentucky after a hot start by the Wildcats in the first half, but Kentucky continues to have their season go downhill for the second straight year. Mississippi State got their huge upset in overtime over TCU, which was really this game. And then Missouri upset Iowa State. Otherwise, the Big 12 would have absolutely dominated this challenge. Iowa State, coming off a big win over K-State, ended up losing to a fairly underrated Missouri squad. Missouri actually beat them by like 20. And then Eric Stevenson's 31 points led West Virginia to another upset. But this time the Big 12 got the win as they beat 15th ranked Auburn. Baylor barely escaped Arkansas with a road win as the game was played in Arkansas. And Baylor continues to look to keep rising up the rankings after they fell down to 17th. Texas Tech handled LSU on the road for another win for the Big 12, and Oklahoma State dominated Ole Miss, and Oklahoma State might be the weakest team in the Big 12, both Oklahoma teams, I would say. But Oklahoma obviously got the big upset, and then Oklahoma State also won by 20 just against a pretty weak Ole Miss squad. But the Big 12 would go on to win the challenge 7-3 after it looked close at the early hours of the day. The later games between the bigger teams, the Big 12 were able to win. But then let's go ahead and move on to what you all want to hear, which is the NFL as we talk about today's game. So we welcome my dad back onto the show. So Dad, what is your, just kind of give us your analysis of what you think is going to happen first in the 49ers-Eagles game.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, guys. The score prediction I've been sharing is 49ers win 24-17. I'm not real confident in that, but for that to occur, I think it has to be a little bit more of a defensive battle. And I do think those two teams, the Niners and Eagles, are probably the two of the better defenses left of the four. I understand that Mitchell for the 49ers is not playing. I highlight that because I think the burden for McCaffrey to have a big game goes up even more. Between running and catching, he may need 150 yards in order for the Niners to win.
On that note, Mitchell played his maybe the best game of his season last week against the Cowboys.
Yeah, and it was a physical game, and the Cowboys defense played well. So several Niners are banged up. I've been saying for several weeks that I think if the Niners don't turn the ball over, they're maybe the toughest team to beat. That still holds, but I think the pressure goes up on Purdy each week this goes forward. And I kind of called out McCaffrey there, given Mitchell's absence. So if it remains a defensive battle and the Niners win the turnover battle, then I think they can win. But I think it'll take both.
Yep, I agree with pretty much everything you said. I think my score prediction is going to be 31-24 49ers. I think it'll be slightly more high scoring. But I think it'll play out similarly to what you said. And then on the AFC side, kind of the game that everybody's been focusing on a little more, the Chiefs versus the Bengals.
Yeah, so my number there is Chiefs win 31-27, an even tighter game. I think the key to that for the Chiefs to win is obviously Mahomes has to be, I'll say 80% or better. I mean, he can't just be a standing statue, or I don't think they can win, particularly if the comment about Kelsey may not be 100%. But I honestly think the key to the win for the Chiefs would be, I think their defensive line needs to beat they also beat up Bengals offensive line, primarily to disrupt Burrow's rhythm and keep Mixon from having a big game. So while I think Mahomes and Kelsey matter, I actually think it will be won or lost based on the Chiefs' defensive line.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But I do think the Bengals O-line, even with their like two starters out, played well against the Bills. And I think they can do that again, as the Bills pass rush is a little bit better than the Chiefs. Obviously, Chris Jones is probably the best defensive player on either of those teams. But I think the Bengals are going to win 35-31 after a great game against the Bills last week, and just their history with the Chiefs, and then also the banged up Chiefs with Mahomes and then Kelsey with a little bit of a back problem. But I am very excited for that game. So yeah, that's about it. Dad, you can go ahead and head out.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Joining us. And then we're gonna finish up the episode with just going through like a team by team comparison of the Bengals and Chiefs, and then also Eagles 49ers. So starting with Bengals and Chiefs, at quarterback, I've seen Mahomes has the more arm talent, but he is a little bit banged up today. And with Joe Burrow's game yesterday, I think that Burrow definitely has a conversation to be the best quarterback in the NFL, but I still think it's Mahomes, although I do think Burrow has surpassed Allen at this point with his basically clutch plays. So that's 1 point for the Chiefs there, as I give it to Mahomes. Offensive line, the Chiefs definitely win by far, although the Bengals banged up O-line played well last game, but the Chiefs got Orlando Brown. Creed Humphrey's probably the best center in the league. Then running back, Bengals obviously win, as Isaiah Pacheco has been a great surprise as a 7th rounder, but Joe Mixon's a top 10 running back in the league. At the wide receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins definitely beat out Juju Smith-Schuster. And I would say the Chiefs' number 2 is probably Marquez Valdes-Scantling. You could say it's Kadarius Toney or even McCole Hardman, but Hardman is questionable, another part of the banged-up Chiefs offense. So then at tight end, obviously Kelsey beats out Hayden Hurst, although Hurst is not a bad option either. So Chiefs, talent-wise, win on the offensive side of the ball, but Bengals D-line versus Chiefs D-line. Chiefs, like I was saying earlier, Chris Jones is the best defensive player, in my opinion, on either of these teams, but Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard are a great combo for those Bengals, and the Chiefs have like some vet edge rushers like Frank Clark and Carlos Dunlap, but I got to give this one to the Bengals overall, just outside of Chris Jones. At the linebackers, Bengals have Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt, who are two real good young linebackers. And then again, Nick Bolton is one of the best linebackers in the league for the Chiefs. But other than that, you got like Willie Gay, but not much else for the Chiefs linebackers. So I got to give it to the Bengals. Then I think the Chiefs do take it at the defensive backs. Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson are two great rookies. Justin Reed is a solid safety, and L'Jarius Sneed is a great corner as well. Then on the Bengals side, Jesse Bates and Von Bell are two great safeties, so Bengals take the safety part. And then Trey Waynes is a solid corner, but outside of him, Eli Apple's your next best corner for the Bengals. So I think the Chiefs overall take the defensive backs. And then finally, we got 49ers versus Eagles. Quarterback, obviously Brock Purdy's played great, but Jalen Hurts likely would have been the MVP if he didn't get hurt. So I put him above Purdy. At the offensive line, both these have some of the best offensive linemen, Jason Kelsey, Trent Williams, Lane Johnson. But overall, I think it's the Eagles over the Niners. Running back, Christian McCaffrey definitely beats out Miles Sanders, although Sanders has had a great year. to get the money that he deserves in his contract year. But Christian McCaffrey's so dynamic in the pass game as well. And then we also have the wide receivers with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith being a deadly combo for Philadelphia. And then I think they do beat out Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk in the wide receivers matchup. Tight end, George Kittle and Dallas Goedert, in my opinion, both top 5 tight ends this year. But Kittle gets the edge for his blocking ability, and he's really came alive since Brock Purdy took over at QB1. And then on the defensive side, the 49ers obviously have Nick Bosa, maybe the best defensive player in the league this year. Eagles have Hassan Reddick, who led the league in sacks. Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham also on the Eagles D-line, while the 49ers have Eric Armstead. So I'm going to give it to the Niners just because of how good Nick Bosa is. They got Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead, but those D-lines are very even. And I think just like how my dad was saying in the Bengals game, it could come down to the Chiefs D-line. I think in the Eagles 49ers, it'll come down to which of their great D-lines plays even better. At linebacker, 49ers definitely win. Eagles are fairly weak at linebacker, while the 49ers have Fred Warner, maybe the best linebacker in the league, as well as D. Greenlaw, who's also an All-Pro. The defensive backs, it's close. Eagles have so many good corners, but they have suffered some injuries. So I would say 49ers have Charvarius Ward. Then Hufanga has been a great safety coming up in his second year. So I think Eagles win overall in their defensive backs. But the defensive backs are pretty even as well. So that's going to go ahead and wrap it up.